before I leave, I'm sorry I have to cut out early. What was the most challenging thing in the last, say, 8 months that you've come up against?
I would say that the most challenging thing that I did was the photography, just because I've never done it before, and I had to recreate all of my dishes to take new photos of them, and sometimes even those weren't good enough, so I had to recreate the dishes again and again, and it was just a really labor-intensive process.
Wow, and then one last quick question. How do we get a copy of this cookbook?
Oh yeah, I left that part out, sorry. So if you go to bakespace.com, there's two options. One, the more challenging one, is to create an account yourself, and then you get access to all the cookbooks on the website, including mine. But I believe if you go to my cookbook, there's also a download option where you can download it onto your computer, and you can just scroll through it as it goes by. Okay. Oh, Park, I have something for you.
And this.
I gave him the card.
Card.
Mr. Stiver, I just want to say that your presentation was amazing. My question for you is, what is your favorite recipe to make from your cookbook?
So my favorite recipe would have to be my Vietnamese spring rolls, only because my dad's been making those for me since I was little. And I have a lot of memories attached to that recipe that have kind of escalated. And my dad taught me how to make those, so he kind of, I don't know the word for it, but he kind of handed down his recipe to another generation, which I'm really appreciative of.
Mr. Stiver, excellent job. That was a wonderful way to start the Masterworks presentations of the week. I was wondering if your family set out a budget for you for all your groceries.
No, they kind of just let me run free. And
That was very nice of them.
it was extremely nice.
Mr. Stiver, I just want to say that was an outstanding presentation, and you should be really proud of yourself.
Thank you.
I love the theme of from different parts of the world and everything, but one thing was curious in your presentation of the ingredients, and I was wondering if you could clear it up for me. What's the difference between cilantro and coriander?
Cilantro and coriander. I think. Wait, I did this. I don't know.
It's the same thing.
Oh.
We have questions from the floor?
Congratulations, Mr. Stiver. I'm wondering, I have two questions actually. I was surprised to hear that you wouldn't consider a job in the restaurant industry. However, would you consider being a food critic or someday getting on the judges panel of some of the shows on the Food Network?
I would love that because, as my parents know, whenever I go to a new restaurant, I'm very picky about their food. I kind of examine every single element to see whether I like it or not. So I think a food critic would be a perfect job for me.
My second question is, which ethnicity from different continents is your favorite to cook, and which is your favorite to eat?
Oh, that's tough. I think I really enjoy doing any type of kind of Asian cuisine, because when I was on Chopped, my kind of culinary identity or point of view was West Coast cuisine with Asian influence. So I think that's what I love to cook, and I like to eat Chinese food as well, so that would probably be my favorite.
Any questions? You guys have questions? Anybody? Oh, no, this one.
Did you always knew that you wanted to like a cookbook for Masterworks, or did you like decide it spur of the moment?
I had a couple of ideas this summer. One was a blog, one was a food truck, and one was a cookbook. But we eventually decided on the cookbook idea because that was the most realistic, and it was the one that I was kind of most passionate about for doing for my Masterworks.
Mr. Stiver, that was fantastic. I loved hearing you talk about your journey. It was really, really cool. My question is, I noticed in your cookbook that you had the amount of time it takes to make a recipe. How do you figure out that time? Because whenever I look at a cookbook and I see how much time it takes, I double it, because that's how long it takes me to make that recipe. So were you being honest? How do you figure that out?
Yeah, it was kind of like an average of how much time it took me every time to cook it. Because the first time I made it, I was a beginner. Second time, I got more and more comfortable with it. So I think it really depends on kind of what level cook you are, and I kind of tried to average that out. So I tried to average the time it would take for it.
So you can do it in less time?
Good job, Mr. Stiver. I'm wondering what your favorite food is, because
That's tough.
you're welcome.
I've always liked pizza. I did a presentation on pizza in grade 4 for one of my talks. Yeah, Miss McKay started yelling. Yeah.
Mr. Stiver, when I was reading your paper, one of the stories really struck me, and it was about photographing something outside. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Can you tell that story? Because it's great.
So, I was trying to make my Canadian dish, my bannock, and the night before, tons of snow had fallen onto the deck, so I kind of wanted to take a photo outside. And I was searching around for a dish that would kind of complement like my background theme of wooden objects. And I found one of my sister's art pieces that was kind of these like killer whales and stuff on a piece of wood. Okay, an orca. So I asked her very politely if I could take it outside. And the moment I said that, she ran off to Mom and told me that I was sabotaging her art piece and that I could not use it outside. But after a very long argument, I was able to use that for my dish.
Great job on your project. What happened to all the food you cooked?
Some of it, I just ate all of it on the night. Some of it I gave to family, friends, and other people. And some of it I gave... No, I didn't give any to them. Some of them... It all got eaten. That's all you need to know. None of it went to waste.
What dish was the toughest to make?
I think the arancini, like I said in my presentation, was pretty tough. Another one that was really tough was I made this fritter from Jordan. It's called a kibbeh, and it's this ground meat fritter that you stir flour into and herbs and spices, and you deep fry, and that kind of blew up as well. So,
Great job.
thank you.
Same kind of question, Mr. Stiver. Is there a recipe or something that you would say, no, don't make this, it's horrible food, no one should eat this?
No, because like I said in my testing recipes phase, I had a lot of recipes that I tested out, and I only picked the best to go into my cookbook. Like the gazpacho I made tasted really kind of metallic. It was kind of gross. And then the pizza I made turned out raw, and I didn't really want to do that again. But all the things that I chose to put in my cookbook, I think have meaning to me and my family, and that's why I wanted it in the cookbook.
You did a really good job on your presentation, but my question would be, what's your favorite part about cooking?
Oh, that's really tough. I like making people happy. I like making my family and my friends happy, and I like seeing their reactions when they try my food and they like smile and it brightens them up. I just really like kind of the emotion that's attached to it. Yeah.
I also wanted to say I really applaud your ideas of using less meat for the environment. That's awesome.
That was a wonderful presentation, Mr. Stiver. You seem to have used a lot of ingredients that are not traditionally maybe North American or West Coast Canadian. So I'm wondering how far you had to go to obtain some of the ingredients and items that you used in your different recipes and what that experience was like.
I think a lot of them I found at my family's like local grocery store because they have quite a few items. I think the weirdest place I went to obtain ingredients was Osaka Market. And I was really interested to see what was in the meat section there. And I was walking kind of along, and you could see things that like chicken feet and like pig's blood, and it was kind of strange. Yeah, but I didn't have to go far to obtain the ingredients that I was using in my recipes. Yeah.
Mr. Stiver, just a question for you. Can you give us your top 3 places to shop for food?
I didn't shop that many places. I think the places that I shop for food, I went to Fresh Street grocery store. That has a lot of options. I went to Osaka, and in Osaka you can find a lot of Asian condiments and things that you wouldn't find elsewhere. And then I really also liked kind of going to like little shops or farmers markets to see the fresh produce that they had and that I could cook with.
Congratulations, Mr. Stiver. You mentioned a couple things that, that you had been catering for friends and family, and I wondered if I could be included in friends and family. No, my question, I guess, is is catering something that you continue doing, or is that sort of come under the sort of stressful cooking experience?
No, I think I like catering because it can be like a day-long process, and I can spend the entire day like at my own pace cooking, and then I just have to kind of make some really quick dishes or like some kind of heating up at the house that I go to that I'm catering at. So I think that I'm not gonna like not do that anymore.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last question from a fellow foodie. Who's your favorite celebrity chef?
So in a moment, we're going to take a break, but Mr. Stiver, you alluded to something about having some of your own food here. What's that about?
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure where he set it up, but, oh, just in the chapel lobby? Okay, so I have the fried chicken that I made, I have the patatas bravas that I made, and I have the hummus with the naan chips that I made. So we're going to go out. We're going to go guests first, and then IPS students. But, yeah, when I'm done, you can just go out and try the food.
What's going to happen in a moment, this ends the question answer part. What's going to happen in a moment, just to understand this, those people are going to go out first. You wait for about a minute or so, and then you get to go, okay? Thank you very much for answering all the questions.